Disney and other companies, including Warner Brothers, are only paying comic book creators, Disney specifically, is only paying comic book creators $5,000 for their work that's adapted into movies that makes billions of dollars. So apparently they have like this deal like, hey, Ed Brubaker, you made The Winter Soldier. We made that movie and it made $1 billion and is a super popular character. And we even made him the co-head of a Marvel Disney Plus series. Here's $5,000 and you get to come to the premiere.
Which he didn't even get invited to.
Yeah, he didn't get invited to The Winter Soldier, which is crazy.
The deal is $5,000 and you get to come to the premiere. Here's your money. Don't tell him about the premiere.
Fuck that guy. Was he ever done
Unless
for
he
us?
asks for it. Yeah. Fuck that guy.
But like, I feel sympathetic when I read this article, but there is a sentence in this article I'm like, well, yeah, that's why you're not getting this money. So the article basically says they should be paid more because their properties that they created have made billions of dollars, even though they are considered work for hire contractors. What are your thoughts on this?
Rob, do you want to go?
Yeah, sure. And I think that's the caveat. It's that these are contracted workers. And once you sign that contract, there just needs to be clear language as far as how that IP is developed, because the studio owns the intellectual property. The writers just create these beautiful, elaborate stories for us. And if it's a hired gun, well, here's your base fee, here's your lump fee, and the job's done. Hey, we adapted it into something else. Here's $5,000. Well, turn it into some kind of profit sharing revenue because this is the person who created the story. And then when I hear, I don't know, I just feel that there's such a disparity as to the pretty faces they put on screen.
Yeah.
And then the people that actually do all the work, all the creative process, all of the support process. At the end of the day, you could replace a lot of these actors with nobodies and still get a good performance. Just for shit, man, I could have been Peacemaker.
Yeah, you could have walked around with a toilet on your head. It's a beacon. It's a beacon of freedom. Micah, what are your thoughts?
I understand the line of thinking that people have. But you got to understand that, like, these people agreed to essentially sign their ideas away for profit. And this is not the only industry that this has happened. We're going to talk about The Witcher later. The author of The Witcher, Andrei Sapkowski, he was trying to sue CD Projekt Red because CD Projekt Red is the company that made the 3 games, and like they've really blown this Witcher product. They put it on the map.
Right.
And Andrei Sapkowski, he's like, I want to get paid. And they're like, we did pay you. Like, he sold the rights to his novels, his characters, like everything. He sold the rights to everything to this company. And this company blew it up, and they're reaping the reward. And now this company is very, to him, they're very nice to him. Like, they've reworked a deal with him. Disney ain't going to do that. But this company was nice enough to do that, but they're not obligated to do it. Same thing with Bungie. Bungie, they created Halo, guys. They created Master Chief, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
But like, they don't work for Microsoft anymore, and they couldn't take that. They can't just because you created it using resources that were provided to you by a producer. That's why when the Academy Award for Best Film is given out, it's given to the producers. It's not given to the actors.
Yeah, fuck them. I spent the money on this.
Right. Like, it's not given to the writer. Like, but so I understand why people are thinking the way they think, but at the same time, like, it's the price of doing business with a big company. Now the argument should be this big company and this creative, maybe they can reach a different like agreement.
Mm-hmm.
But if that's what you signed, then that's what you signed. I feel bad, but I don't.
So that's kind of how I came away from the article, right? Like the article has an agenda. The article is like, feel sympathetic for these writers and these creators.
Sure.
Because, Endgame made $2.8 billion and the guy who created Thanos got like, they sent him a lollipop and like a little check. Like, good job, buddy. Like
little purple chin ones.
They just sent him like the kids, like glove. Like, oh, check this out. Come to the premiere. I go, fuck you, right? Thanks for nothing. And
we'll buy your popcorn.
Yeah, or not. You pay for it yourself. We didn't set the price.
We'll reimburse you.
Yeah. Check with us in 45 days. Right? So if you remember. So, like, it has an agenda, and I'm not mad at that agenda of the article, right? Because I think fundamentally, as a human being, I can understand it. And I agree with it, right? But that's why contracts exist, right? Like, you are a work for hire contractor, or you work for this business. That is how business works. Now, you can have a problem with capitalism. You can have a problem with being a contractor and stuff like that. But they didn't dupe you, right? Like if you wrote Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or you wrote Daredevil or you wrote The Winter Soldier, you wrote those stories way before the MCU existed, way before they had planned to take those things and make live action stuff out of them. Like, so you can't just be like, well, that should, I should retroactively get that. Like, that's not really how life works. I'm not mad if Disney or Warner Brothers decides that they want to rework and do a contract with you. I'm not mad at that. They're not obligated to do that.
Right. I think they should, but they're not obligated.
Right. I think they should, but they're not obligated. But the big sentence in this article is incredibly important, and it does a lot of heavy lifting. Unlike actors, directors, etc., who have, magic word here, unions helping them fight for certain things, comic creators are left to fend for themselves, and in many cases, hope that their grievances are aired in public to draw more attention to the challenges they're facing. Union labor fucking matters, okay? Having unions, collective bargaining matters. We have destroyed unions in this country, not to get on a soapbox, but these are the kind of things why you need unions, right? This is why Amazon doesn't want unions and shit like this. Right. This is a reason why comic book writers should have a union. Like they should, right? They should have a big union across DC, Valiant, Marvel, all of that shit. IDW, all of it. There should be one fucking comic book writers union. That way you can negotiate those things.
Why do you think athletes get paid a shit ton of money?
That's right. They're not negotiating on their own. They're not. Hell no.
Representation.
Yeah, representation legally also matters. So like unions are a really big part. That sentence is doing a lot of heavy lifting in this article, and it should be the thing that people are concentrating on, the fact that they aren't in a union, right? Like that should be a thing that they do. That being said, I think they should get paid. I think it doesn't have to be a huge percentage. It doesn't even have to be 1% of what these movies make. It could be 0.25%. But guess what? 0.25% of $2.8 billion ain't a bad payday when you drew a couple of characters and wrote a couple of stories. That's not a bad deal. But I think I won't even say ethical thing to do, because it's not about ethics. Like you sign a contract. The good human thing to do is...
No, you've nailed it. It is ethical. Just because something is legal and contractually right doesn't make it ethical.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, like if I was Disney, look, you created the Winter Soldier? Dude, that's a super popular character. Just like, I don't know, you don't have to hit the dude with $5,000. That's just insulting. But like, here you go, here's $100,000. Like, what's $100,000 to them? It's $100,000.
You could at least up the payout, the one-time payout.
$5,000?
Right? God damn.
Come on, man. Knock it off.
That won't even wipe out a credit card.
right. Like,
Right?
I got bills, man. I got bills. I'm a comic book writer. I got bills. So give him $100,000. Kick him $100,000, right? Like, no big deal. The other part of this that I find like really interesting is that like they have these special character contracts with some people, but like you have to ask and they're not guaranteed to give it to you. Like that's a specific thing with Marvel. I'm like, nah, dude, you can't do like half in, half out. Like either pay the people, set up a contract and get it done or don't. Like that, it's just, that to me doesn't seem fair. But no, they're not obligated. Like, and again, this article has this agenda, like they should do it. Yeah, they should. But that doesn't make the company bad because you signed a contract and it's like, yeah, we're just sticking to the contract. Like that, they're not hiding that from you. The other thing I will give you, like I'll give people an example. I work at a very specific place that does science, right? And as a scientist there, whatever you create does not belong to you. And I know a guy who a number of years ago created a heart stent, right? Stent that you put in your heart, you know, in case you have a clog or whatever. Or excuse me, no, a brain stent. And he did it a different stent than anyone else has ever done, right? It was like a new thing. This guy created it. Like in his work that he was doing, he created it. He made, I don't work for a company. Let's say it's run by let's say if you pooled all of your money together and it was collected at the end of the year, an organization that would do that is who I work for. That made them a lot of money, right? Because what they do is they take that and then they send that patent out and people purchase it and then they create them, right? Like, and then that money is just used for more research. It's not like, hey, we getting paid. Like, it doesn't work like that. It made the company I work at like $2 billion, right? Like a lot of fucking money because it was used and it was this great thing. That dude's a bench scientist. They gave him like, it's like $15,000 check one time. That's it. They made billions of dollars.
See, and then I think of,
but that's, and by the way, they gave him that 15,000. That was out of the kindness of their heart. That is not in his contract where he works. It's not.
And 3M has a business model whereas if somebody in-house creates an idea, you actually get residuals from those ideas. So
right.
The guy who hey, I've got a bad batch of glue and I'm going to make Post-it notes. Okay, so you fucked up your glue and you turned it into a multi-billion-dollar idea. Well, I would love to be the guy that screwed up that glue and invented this because he's still getting residuals because that's exactly it. They're not obligated, but he helped create a product in-house that was a game changer. So why not reward that kind of effort?
It actually, what it would do,
it incentivizes people to create and to do more.
Right. Like think about what how the writing would change if you got compensated and you got residuals, if your stuff got to the movie levels and it became this big success and, you know, like whatever, for every $1 million, you know, you get some percentage or whatever. Imagine what that would do. Like they would be they'd be shooting for the moon on their writing, dude, all the time. Like, holy shit, this might work. Like you would get characters like with deep, rich history. Like they'd be working overtime because somebody wants to hit that bank and like, holy shit, this idea worked. Like they would. So yeah, it would breed even better content. I mean, hopefully, and not just a bunch of shitty content that they're just really hoping just works on screen. And they don't
Nick
really
Cage
give a fuck.
Just write 400 stories. One of them will stick.
Yeah, just do anything. But yeah, look, DC's no better, right? Like they got the Marvel Studios logo here, but DC's no better. They apparently seem to do the same thing. They just don't have a number by which they pay their creators of $5,000, which is insulting. Like it's just insulting.